Stuart, I have a question. Bob Sink.
Yes, Bob.
Um, Both you and Rudy have talked about the asking for help, wishing for help, and demanding help. And there's seems to be a lot of depth to all that. Could you speak about that different language?
Well, yeah, I speak about it, a lot. And it's, look, you don't get unless you're willing to ask. You don't get unless something inside you really demands, that you receive a spiritual life. You receive the Shakti, the energy of a higher nature. And what was the last one? You ask, you demand, what?
The wish to grow.
Well, all of those comes out of need, which is the wish to grow. If your need is very deep inside, if your need transcends all of the yakking that goes on in the head and all your material things and tangible things, except, and the need goes to the depth inside you that you truly wanted a spiritual life, you have every right to ask. You ask from your teachers, you ask from the universe, you ask from Rudy, from Nityananda, any other teacher connected in the universe. You have every right to demand because, look, frankly, to have a spiritual life has got to be the single most difficult thing that anyone can try to attain on this planet. It's, look, everything else is tangible. We need money, we need cars, we need homes, we need clothing. It's all tangible. We see it manifest. We touch it, we smell it, but when you want a spiritual life, it's an internal realization that is intangible, that creates an energy so powerful inside a human being that it really brings about the miracle of having a connection with higher energy or God. It stems from one's need, and it stems from one's ability to utilize the tools that we have as human beings to make all of this possible. So you have to ask. That's why I always say, are there any questions? And every time people ask questions, the class goes to almost like another dimension. And then you have to demand. You have to demand, first of all, of yourself. I am not satisfied with the level of growth, the answers I'm getting, with the depth, that's coming to me. I need and want more. It's the greatest thing you could ever do to any spiritual teacher, that kind of demand, because that kind of demand comes from such a place deep inside you, that it really makes the teacher work on itself. And even Rudy once said, I'll never forget it, a great student can turn a lousy teacher into a great teacher by demanding, by asking, not fighting and arguing and trying to prove one's point and who knows better and a lot of this theological stuff, but from a need inside that is so healthy and so deep that it'll take you to a place where you can truly ask and you can demand profound answers without being embarrassed, without being ashamed, without feeling, well, I have no right to do this. You have every single right under the sun to do this. It is your life. It's your connection to God. Look, when I was around Rudy, I never asked a lot of questions, but I always did my work around him. I was sitting there. He would be running his business. He'd be, with his mother. He would this. I was always doing, it was always to me, everything that came out of him was Shakti that could help me to grow. And I didn't care about conversations with him. I only cared about taking that energy. I knew I needed that energy. And that is the way I demanded of Rudy. And I don't think I ever went into his store, ever, where he didn't sit for at least 20 minutes and work with me. I kept my mouth shut. I would just sit there and do my inner work. And we would do this incredible work. But that was the way I demanded. It was also the way I asked. And it came from my wish to have a spiritual life, from this deep need inside me that said, no, I am not going to accept the mundane. I'm not going to accept, the material world as the ultimate. I'm not going to accept any of this nonsense, that the external world was trying to feed me. I want something deeper. And I knew I could get it out of Rudy because he had that kind of depth. So when I was around him, I don't think I ever got into a conversation with Rudy. I wasn't interested. I would do my inner work. I would see a lot of his, talking and conversing. I never cared. I only cared about one thing, getting the energy that could penetrate my superficiality, for not being able to think of a better word, my resistance, my, that part of my life that resisted deep inner growth. I needed the energy. I needed some bulldozer to break me down and allow that energy to penetrate to the depth of my inner being. It came because I asked in my own way. I demanded in my own way. And both asking and demanding came from, a need inside myself to not accept the mundane as an answer. So all of these things are essential, You're dealing with an energy that, look, let's get back to something I always say. The only person we're up against in all of this is ourselves. You ask from the depth that you're willing to ask from. You need from the depth that you're willing to go to in yourself. You demand from the depth that you're willing to go to inside yourself. And again, the demands are not screaming in somebody's face. The demands, really are spiritual demands, best probably conveyed through silence, not through theological arguments about what's right or wrong in the Bhagavad Gita. You know better to interpret this. And that's all bullshit. It doesn't go anywhere. You understand? Nothing wrong with the Bhagavad Gita. It's the most profound books I've ever read. But it was also a book that told me, keep your mouth shut. Learn from internal work. So all of these things you asked, Bob, are really essential. They're so important. And they're so simple. And they stem from the need inside a human being to grow. And that need will never accept no for an answer. It won't. It will never accept the mundane as an answer. It'll demand something more profound, something that will break one open inside so that all of that creative juice can flow inside one. So the question is a great question, and the answer is very simple. It all depends upon how deeply we need to grow. That I cannot determine for anybody. I can provide a lot of energy. I can provide a lot of Shakti. I cannot determine that depth of need inside another human being. I can break people down when they come to me with a lot of bullshit, But that need has to be it's a dialogue between every human being and God. their own personal dialogue. It says, I want this, I want to grow, I will do whatever I have to do to grow. Now, I remember years ago, before the ashram started in Denton, Texas, I stayed with a family in Dallas, a very wealthy family. They were the ones that brought Muktananda and Rudy and myself and a whole coterie of people to Dallas. They paid for everything. I mean, they were a very rich family. And I stayed with them for a week. Rudy asked me to do it. And I'll never forget, these people talked spiritual, spiritual, spiritual. And at the same time, they were so completely controlled by their social position, by their money, by everything of that nature. I mean, the guy's brother was a senator of the US Congress. And when I came back to New York, I said, I was with Rudy and I said this to him. So he said to me, Stuart, in order for him to have a spiritual life, he's going to have to surrender all of that. He's going to have to get past all of that. That is trapping him in some kind of little conceptualized world that was keeping him from growing. And we're all kind of trapped in that conceptualized world. It's family, it's this, it's that, it's the other, it's the job, the business, the money, the material problems. We all are trapped in these conceptualized worlds. And it's only asking, demanding, and need that enables us to break those worlds down and go to a more transcendental plane of consciousness. Ooh. Oh, Bob, thanks. That was quite a...
Thank you, Stuart.
Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, I just, I'm going to repeat it again. I'm going away for, I think 6 or 7 days, and I just need a little bit of a rest. So there won't be classes online in those days, and there will be a class when I come back, not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. I also would like to say something. Once a month I send out my begging bowl. Jennifer sends out a begging bowl, and I just, a lot of people really contribute. I just want to thank you all. I don't send out individual thanks, stuff like that, but I would like to thank you all for the generosity, for people contributing, for people helping me to pay the rent and to, take care of basic material things that need to be taken care of. So God bless you all. It touches me very deeply when people are willing to make that kind of effort. So bless you all and thank you. I don't ask for much. I don't ask for, literally, it's ridiculous what I ask for, if somebody offered me $1 million, I would take it, but I don't ask for a lot. And if anyone can't afford it, they're still welcome in these classes. Nobody's going to chase them away. I would hope at some point they would make some kind of an effort to grow inside where they can afford $5 a class. I think that would be an effort on the part of some of you that, to do that, it would mean growth inside you. Say, okay, thank you. I can afford this. But the classes are open to everybody. I will never turn anyone back because of financial things. But I just wanted to say, I do send this begging bowl out once a month in all humility. And I'd like to thank you for the people that make the contributions and do that. They help. You got to take care of Caesar, So God bless you all and thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody, you know, next Wednesday, you know, and have a wonderful summer, whatever. You know, God bless you all. Thank you.
A great vacation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Love you.